plan. That is just you lying to yourself and telling yourself that you need to do something. If you've made a planner knowing that there's exams approaching at a certain time, there's no need for you to panic when the exams actually come, because your planner has already been designed in a way that by the time exams come, you're ready for the exams. My name is Natalie, and my channel name is TheStylishMed. In today's video, we are talking about study planners and how to make a study plan that's actually going to guarantee you good grades and one that's going to make you maximize your most productive time. So I basically have like 5 tips that I would say everyone needs to adopt and implement in their study plan, because these are the tips that separate you from, just getting by in school to actually doing well in school, because you set your plan in a way that is actually productive and effective and will guarantee a good result because of the way you make it and the things you consider when you make it. So the 5 tips are: number 1, be specific. Don't just write Monday the 3rd of February I'm going to study pediatrics, Tuesday I'm going to do gynae, Wednesday I'm going to do medicine, Thursday I'm going to do physiology, Friday I'm going to do pathology. That is not a study plan. That is just you lying to yourself and telling yourself that you need to do something, but you're not actually telling yourself what it is exactly that you need to do. What you actually need is a specific topic on a specific day and a specific time. For example, on Monday the 3rd of February at 4 a.m. I'm going to study postpartum hemorrhage and gynecology, and then give us a specific time frame to say at 4 a.m. like from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. on Monday the 3rd of February, this is what I'm going to be studying. And the third thing is that make sure you're setting your topic to study or your lecture to watch, whatever it is that you're doing for your studying routine that day. Make sure that it's at your most productive time. What do I mean by this? If you know that you're an evening person, if you know that you're most productive in the evenings, set your tasks in the evenings. You have no business setting yourself to study at 5 a.m. if you know you're not a morning person. You have no business telling yourself that you're going to study at 2 p.m. if you know that that's the time when you feel the most sleepy. I know that I'm a morning person and I feel most productive when I study in the mornings and get my most important tasks done at that time. So I will set my most important study tasks at that time. Then the 4th thing is to plan even the location if you can. For example, if you're still in university, or if you have a lot of cafe options, library options, classroom options for you to study at, then set it like that to say on Monday at this time I'm going to study in the library, on Monday evening I'm going to study at home in my bedroom, and then on Tuesday morning I'm going to study in the lounge, on Tuesday evening I'm going to study at a cafe, and then and so forth and so forth and so forth. So you basically have to be specific down from the date, the time, the topic, the place, everything. And then the last tip that I always make sure I implement in my planner is to plan in a way that there's still room for me to make certain changes if I need to. For example, if I plan out to study on 5 days and then something comes up on one of the days, or I fall sick, or I'm too busy in the hospital, or I'm too tired this day that I can't do anything, there's room for me to make a change and still not fall behind in my study plan. And also make a plan in a way that you still have time for yourself, that you still can do the things that you like. There's no reason for you to cram every single thing into your planner and then you're left overwhelmed, anxious, stressed out, and just feeling like you can't get anything done, and because you probably won't get anything done. Whereas if you have a planner where you study 4 to 5 days a week, you still have 2 days to do whatever it is that you like doing, or you study every day but reduce the number of hours, that you still have time to do the things that you like, time to rest, time to just sit and not be doing anything. And then also in the planner, make sure it's not just reading. Make sure you have days that you actually can review the stuff that you're reading, days that you can watch videos and seminars and lectures online, days that you can do quizzes and tests and stuff online as well. And so now I can actually show you guys how I make my study planner. So the first thing you want to do when it comes to actually making your planner and like starting to draft anything is to get your course curriculum and outline and whatever it is that you are supposed to be studying. Like if it's pediatrics, what in pediatrics are you studying? Don't just know that I need to read peds and obs and gynae and medicine and surgery and ophthalmology. You need to know what exactly, like what topics, what branches and subdivisions and everything you need to read. So you need to get your course list and the semester plan or whatever it is that you get and go through those topics, and that's what's going to guide you to making your study planner. Then the second thing you need to do is to get all your exam and test days ready so that you plan your planner, so that you plan your planner, so that you make your planner in a way that your studying is to help you, and that by the time exams come, you're actually ready for the exams. I don't like these planners and this habit of people studying however they want to study, and then 2 weeks before exams everything changes, and then now they're suddenly panicking and studying for exams. If you've made a planner knowing that there's exams approaching at a certain time, there's no need for you to panic when the exams actually come, because your planner has already been designed in a way that by the time exams come, you're ready for the exams. The third thing you want to do is go through your textbooks and whatever materials you're going to be using to study to see if they correlate with the course outline and curriculum that you have for your different topics. Once you have those 3 things, your books and whatever materials you're going to be using to study, your course curriculum and outline, and your test days, exam days and quiz days and all that, then now you can actually start planning. So the first thing that I like to do is to grab a random piece of paper or a notebook or something, a pen and a pencil, and then in pen I write down all the topics that are stated in the curriculum and course outline, like the absolutely must knows of those subjects. And then in pencil I write down all the other ones that aren't in the course curriculum, or the ones that are optional and electives, and topics that I feel like, okay, this isn't in the curriculum, but I feel like it's important and I need to know it, just to know it. Not that I might be quizzed on it, but it's part of the subject in general. The next thing you want to do is to go back to that list that you've just made of all the topics you need to know, the topics that you might need to know, and the topics you don't really need to know but can just read over, and then allocate specific amounts of time to that. And so how you do this is you go through the chapters in your books or your lecture notes or whatever it is that you're going to be using to study for that subject and that topic, and see how long you think it would take for you to actually master that topic. And with this, it's really important to be specific, honest with yourself, and very realistic, because there's no way, for example, that you're going to study the entire cardiovascular system in one day. That's broken down into several different topics, and so you need to allocate the right amount of time for each of those small topics, and that's going to help you actually make your planner. And I feel like this is really important, because a lot of people just say, today I want to do cardiovascular system, but then you can't do that in a day, so they end up being overwhelmed, they fall behind in their plan, and then they just end up slacking off with their studies, and they don't really do anything useful with themselves. And so this is why it's important to be specific and realistic, so that you can set small achievable goals that will actually help you achieve the big goal in the end, which is to do well. So now that you've got a rough idea of what you need to study and how long it's going to take you to study it, now you go to your planner or your calendar. So what you're going to do is you're going to add all the different topics that you're going to be doing in a day, and with this you have to bear in mind the number of hours you're going to be studying in a day, how long it's going to take you to study it, how your schedule looks on that day, and how you'd typically be feeling on that day. I know for a fact I have no business sitting huge chunks of study material on a Friday, because I know on Fridays I just want to sleep, because number one, I might be post-call because I like doing Thursday evening calls overnight. Number two, Friday is just the end of the week for me. I don't feel like I should be doing anything on Friday, so I typically don't want to be studying. So like something like that, if you know that you're gonna finish school at 6 p.m. you have no business writing down 5 topics for that evening when you finish school at 6 p.m. So you need to bear in mind all these things, like your schedule, your mood, your however you feel. If it's that time of the month for you ladies, then you know that if you know you're gonna have cramps on a certain day, don't set large tasks for that day, and you know, that kind of thing. So what I like to do is I prefer to do one topic of a subject per day rather than doing one subject per day. What I mean is I would rather do one topic in obs and gynae, one topic in peds, and one topic in internal medicine in one day, than to do 3 topics of one subject, if that makes sense. And I feel like this helps me like stay fresh, because if I do, by the time I'm done with the second topic of one subject, I'm bored of the subject already, and I don't feel like studying anymore. But if I've set one topic of each subject, it's like I'm looking at something fresh, and my mind, you know, just feels up to it. And so this increases my productivity levels, whereas if I was to do 3 topics of one subject in a day, I would master the first one, the second one it would somehow be in my head, and the third one I'll probably forget it in 2 weeks time. And so it's also important, the next thing you need to do is to allocate your review days. It's very important that you set specific days during the week and in your study planner where you're just going to be focused on reviewing all the material you've learned so far. Like what I mean by reviewing the material you've learned is going to be doing quizzes, cases, questions online, watching videos to, you know, refresh your memory to see if everything you've learned is actually retained in your brain, because there's no worse feeling than spending a month studying something and then realizing that you forgot everything you studied, and that defeats the purpose of actually having a study plan, because it's like, what were you studying if you don't remember anything at all? So then the next thing you want to do is now to go over your planner and see if it makes sense to you. Like, see if you haven't overexerted yourself, see if you haven't done too little, see if there's any places that need to be changed, correlate it with your schedule and see if it's manageable for you or not, see if you have enough time to rest, see if it's set up in a way that if something happens, you're not going to fall too much behind, you can catch up on the other days that you've left out. The next thing you want to do, I guess, after that is to decorate it and make it look pretty. I don't necessarily decorate my planner because I have a fixed planner that I've made for myself in Photoshop, and so it's like that. Then I just have to go and write out the things, the topics and the subjects, and so the only thing I then go and do is to highlight the different topics or the different subjects. And once that's done and you're happy with how it looks, then you're pretty much done. That's your study planner. Is concise, it's to the point, it's specific, it's manageable, and it's got time for you to actually have a life other than just studying. Most importantly, it's gonna make you achieve the goal you want at the end of the semester or at the end of the month, or whatever it is that you want it for, which is to actually do well in your exam, because you've set out a plan, a road path to that exam. And so that's how I've set up my study planners throughout the years, and I will continue to do it like that until further notice. So I will be sharing a free study planner template for you guys to use and adopt, so to make your lives easier. If you want to use it, you can. It's free, you just have to download it. So do keep an eye on my website to see when that's gonna be up. And so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was useful. I hope that you guys will make effective study planners. No more just writing Monday peds. Be specific, be intentional, and achieve the marks that you want to achieve. Yeah, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video.